The Show with Jacquie Wayans. Inspiration through word and song for you.
Hi, I'm your host, Jacquie Wayans, and this is Don't Give Up and Win. I'm so happy that you're here to be with us for another episode. As you know, this show is about those of you reaching for a dream while pushing away life's challenges. And our guest today, Roland Gaynor, knows full well all about that. He was born at 1 pound and now is a perfectly healthy and wonderful individual, a student at the University of Michigan studying psychology, and he's here today to talk about how he has overcome many of life's struggles and challenges. Glad to have you with us, Roland.
Oh, good to be here. Good to be here. Thank you.
Well, that was just a little tip and taste, being born at 1 pound, but it's more than that for you. You had a succession of things through your life that could have been considered a setback. And you and I were actually born in Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant, but you were born, grew up in the Marcy Projects, and I understand that's the home of Jay-Z as well. And I had a best friend who lived there, so I understand that is a very different experience. So share with those of us who may not know, understand a little bit about your family dynamic and what it was like growing up in that environment.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Well, I come from a home of 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I'm the baby. Okay. So, they treated me like a baby. Yes. And it was just different living in Marcy. Family members weren't doing the best things. I have like different alcoholics in my family, or just a very struggling environment, because that's just how it was there. Right,
and people are looking at this all over the country, and so to understand, just from my experiences visiting those projects, sometimes you're going up the stairwell and you might see a little bit of blood in the corner, or you're coming down the stairs and there's a whole cluster of people and you're like, am I going to get out of here? So you had that day in and day out.
Definitely.
What kind of impact did that have, not only on you, but your family?
I look at it as a positive impact. It made me more aware of my surroundings. It made me want to be more safe, because I remember I remember one day I couldn't go outside because I was looking at a shootout happening out the window, and I was actually, my mom was just telling me, don't go out there. Then I saw this dude with this do-rag on, this white tank top, just shooting. I didn't know who he was shooting at, but I just saw him shooting at him. Right. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? Because I was just a young kid,
Of course.
And that's just the type of things that I had to deal with every day. So I thought it was normal.
Right.
Unfortunately.
If that's what you grew up in, right? That's your normal.
Yeah.
That's what your normal. And you lost a sibling, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk about that experience a little bit.
Oh, man. That happened when I lived in the Bronx, actually, because we moved out of Marcy and moved to the Bronx. And my brother was involved with another lady, and the guy found out. I guess that was his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. I'm not sure what the predicament was, and he shot him 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is hard to rebound from and hard to deal with. So here you are, you've grown up in a poverty type situation.
Yes.
You grew up seeing violence all around you. You're losing a family member to violence. What were you like? If I was going to meet you during that time, what kind of student would I have seen? What type of young man would I have encountered?
Definitely not this one.
Okay.
Definitely not this one.
Paint me a picture.
I was just silly. I'm gonna call it silly, for lack of a better word. I'm always getting into fights. I'm hanging around with my friends. We would just go out, and unfortunately, I was a product of my environment. So we would like go out and like rob people, and just get into a bunch of fights for no apparent reason. And I was just being a knucklehead. Or stealing something. It was just me being a follower.
Right.
Of some sort, opposed to actually learning from teachers and being a student.
Well, clearly now you are a student at the University of Michigan. Yes. Something had to have occurred in your life to create a shift, to create a change. So what was that moment or those things that led to you being this young man here?
Oh man, I met a great man named Shawn Blanchard.
Yeah.
Him and 4 other mentors of mine created an organization called Men of Majesty, and that pretty much took, I would say, misguided young children in a lower socioeconomic status, and showed them a different lifestyle and taught us valuable lessons on how to go throughout life, whether we're meeting multi-millionaires after school to running around doing scavenger hunts to meeting supermodels.
Nice.
it was a lot. It was a lot, and it was a great time. And I learned so many lessons.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
ma'am.
Wonderful. So for you, it took a mentor, someone
yes,
to come in and to be that guide, that voice for you, to expose you to more.
Definitely.
Was that an easy transition for you? Was it something that you looked for and hoped for, or was it a bit of an adjustment for you to make in terms of letting this person into your world?
I would say a little bit of both.
Okay.
I would say both because at the time I was going through a very rough period in life, and I was like going through homelessness. My mom had cancer, uncles dying, and things of that nature. And so that was one half. But then I also had the half where I was thinking like, this is not what I want for my life. And I have this perfect example, Shawn and my other mentors who were able to show me something new. I don't have to go out and do bank scams or anything like that. There are positive ways and positive avenues where I can change my life for the better.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about one of the major ways you were able to do that in your life when we come back, and we're also going to meet your mentor, Shawn Blanchard. And as I've talked about on the show many, many times, mentorship is crucial in everyone's life, especially the lives of our young men. So don't count yourself out. If you've gone through any experience and have overcome, you can help someone else through that challenge. So we'll talk more when we come back.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Hi, and we're back, and I'm here with Shawn Blanchard. He is author, entrepreneur, and mentor to Roland Gaynor. And I'm so thankful to have him on the show because he has also been on my radio show. And that title of what you are, you're so much more than that. You do so much more. And I just want you to be able to share a little bit about your side of the story with Roland, because when you met him, you were actually teaching here in New York City in a school in the Bronx, and he was one of your students. So talk to us about what it was that you saw in Roland that you thought, this kid needs some guidance, and maybe I'm the one to do that.
Well, you know what? It's funny because initially meeting Roland, I saw a little skinny kid with big ears.
Oh my! That's presidential quality.
Presidential qualities, right?
So,
presidential quality. So I see this kid, and he seemed to be a pretty smart kid. And I didn't necessarily have him in my classes his first year. I just heard about him. I would hear about him from some of my colleagues.
What were you hearing? What were?
One of my colleagues would call him a bit of a nuisance.
Okay.
But she would say that he was really smart.
Okay.
She said that he just needed to be pushed, but he wasn't applying himself all the way, and you would just hear things like that, right? So he wasn't necessarily terrible, but what you would see when I would see him in the hallway, I generally liked him in general without even knowing much about him at this point, because I could tell he liked fashion.
Ah, yes.
And so he would come through and he would have like Louis Vuitton on.
Oh, excuse me.
And Gucci shoes and all these other things. And I knew for a fact that he wasn't necessarily coming from a privileged household. Right. So there had to be some means of getting these types of things. And I had some ideas of what I thought that would be.
Right. So now when you say you had some ideas, is that because of being an adult who is just learned about the community, or is it from personal experience that you had?
Let's keep it all the way 1,000.
Yes.
That's absolutely from personal experience. I grew up the same way, where I didn't come from a privileged background, and everything that I had that was designer, that was a bit more extreme than what my peers would have, it came from some type of illegal drug activity, bank scamming, or some type of scam to actually get these types of articles of clothing and whatnot.
Right.
But I'll tell you this, the second year in dealing with Roland, I had a group of my colleagues and we decided to create a mentorship program.
Right, you mentioned that, yes.
And it's called Men of Majesty. And it was just like From G's to Gents. It was this show that Farnsworth Benton was doing. And we wanted to really change the lives of some young men. Yes. And we decided to start with 12 young men. And we decided that Roland was going to be one of the 12. And it was because he had so much potential, but he could go this way or he could go that way.
Right.
And it was a matter of really pulling him in. Once he got into the program, we had individuals that were paired up with each of the mentors. Right. And Roland was never paired with me.
Okay.
It was never a pair saying, okay, you're over him, you're over him, you're over him. Okay. Roland was never paired with me.
All right.
But Roland was paired with me.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So Roland chose me himself. Okay. He followed me around like a lost dog. Right? But of course I accepted it because I saw so much in him. I really wanted him to be great. Right. He wanted to read the books I was reading. He would ask questions about investing and questions about the things that I did outside of teaching.
Right.
And he would just even say, hey, we rode the train together. We were riding home together after school. If I'm going to get something to eat, take him with me. And we really fostered a really great relationship that was even beyond the mentoring program, to where he was like my younger brother.
All right. That's wonderful. You're building that relationship. It takes very little in some regards. It's the intention, I think, that is the biggest thing to say, yes, I'm going to be a part of this person's life. And it's as simple as a train ride or a cup of coffee or a slice of pizza. It doesn't have to be anything really extravagant. And I say that because a lot of people are hesitant to start a relationship because they think the person has to live with you and be with you there all the time. And it may go that far. I know in some cases with you it has. Right. But it's just the ability to make yourself available to a young person that you might see in distress.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Now, going back to your story a little bit, I know there was a mentor that made a crucial difference in your life as well, because you were that kid. You were that kid who was, hustling on the side, family members who were either incarcerated or had lost their lives. So you have a great heart for this work. Talk to people about what you've been doing in terms of supporting young men and being a mentor.
Right. So, I started out as an educator, started a mentoring program, adopted a young man, and when I adopted him, it seemed like I adopted two because Roland kind of came with that package.
Okay.
But then after, leading a math department to the top 5%, my colleagues and I went off to law school, a master's in secondary math education, law school, education law, business law, and I started to work for the mayor of Detroit as a director of youth services, managing a $7 million budget, hiring 5,600 kids across Detroit to get summer jobs, working with my Brother's Keeper initiative from President Barack Obama, and doing a lot of different things for young people. Today I'm doing a national book tour, and where I give custom suits out at every one of my speeches. I give out ties at every one of my speeches. I have a scholarship that I provide for young people that are high school or college students every 1st and 15th. And I'm always available to mentor young people. Now I do a lot via social media, and of course I have a select few that I'm a sponsor type of mentor over. Okay. But it doesn't stop. It keeps going. It's my daily practice and daily life.
Right, right. I love the fact that when you think of yourself in terms of a title, that mentor piece is a part of who you are.
Absolutely.
You're not just author, you're not just entrepreneur, but you consider yourself a mentor. That's what you do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even coined the mentorship specialist.
Oh, I like that.
and I even have a TED talk about the science of mentorship. So it's extremely important. And it's something that we can all do no matter what level of time that we can provide. We have to be able to provide it. And I think that when we see young people like Roland, who's a man now, who's doing great things for other people, you see the fruits of all the time that you spent with this young person, or those quality moments. It's not necessarily the quantity of time, but it's the quality of the time.
I love it. When we come back, we're going to speak with both Roland and Shawn and find out what's going on in their lives today and how you can even feel more comfortable yourself being a mentor to another life when we return.
This looks good. You don't need this little clip art over here. So let's take that out. Incredible dancer. I don't know if people are going to believe you.
I see.
You sure you want to do that?
Yeah, set me up.
All right. The first time I saw the White House was in 1984. I just graduated from college. I was working as a community organizer out of the Harlem campus of the City Colleges in New York. You got to have your elbow in a little bit. Okay. All right. Release. Make sure it's on your fingertips.
Maybe I should shoot lefty.
You can try that.
I got one shot at this. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. That's science right there. I'm really proud of you, man. That's a wonderful volcano.
Thank you, man.
You don't need all the time in the world or all the answers to be the mentor someone needs. And you don't need to be an NBA star or the President of the United States to be someone's hero.
Support my brother's keeper.
Be a mentor.
Make the time. Go to mentor.gov and mentor in real life.
I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. To me, being the first person to go to college, it's like setting a standard, you know? My little brother is 8 years old now. I challenge his curiosity. I challenge him to dream. I have to paint a picture for him that he can look up to and live up to and possibly be better than. My name is Aqueous, and I am your dividend.
Don't you give up now. Don't you give up now.
And we're back, and I'm here with both Shawn and Roland. And we're just going to end the show by touching on some highlights, a few tips that you can walk away with to make your own situation a little bit better. I want to let you know that Shawn is the author of this book, How's That for a Crack Baby? Yes, the man that I'm sitting next to was born a crack baby. He was a part of that epidemic. He was born with one eye closed and bruises on his body. And Roland was born 1 pound. Right? And so you guys were born with disadvantages, things that were, society would make you a statistic and say, you're going to have Down syndrome or you won't be able to succeed in life. And Shawn, if you have parents that were involved with drugs and an abusive home, you're never going to amount to anything. You're going to be just a weight on our society, right? So take a minute to talk to someone who's listening about those statistics that are out there and what the reality could be for them.
Right. What's interesting is when we talk about statistics, it makes me even think about my own brothers. I have 7 brothers, in which 3 of them are unfortunately deceased, and 3 of them have been to prison. My oldest brother is currently serving a lifetime sentence right now. And has 11 children. So you would think that with this type of makeup, you're really not sure how things are going to turn out, especially with the origins of how I may have come into the world or whatever else. But I'll tell you that that's just a test. It's nothing but a testimony, right?
Right, absolutely.
There's also a statistic that says that today, 1 in 3 young people need a mentor, a responsible, positive mentor in their lives. There's also a statistic that says that 1 in 3 black men at some point in their lives will go to prison. Wow. If we solve the mentorship problem, we solve the black man going to prison problem, right? Yeah. So if we solve the problem for everyone, we solve the problem for black people. And I think that it's a very important initiative to make sure that we put those solutions forward, because there's so many issues that that lie out there for everyone when it comes down to mentorship.
Wow, I hope you heard those numbers, even within your own family. That is just amazing to me, and I know, Roland, you're nodding your head, and you can come into agreement with that. What I love that was a sidebar about your relationship is that you're a man of faith. You love the Lord with all your heart and soul. And Roland, you saw that in him. And that caused you to take a step to say, you know, that I want to take that part of it on myself as well, right?
Truth be told.
That's awesome. And because you have that heart shift and that spirit shift, you hopped in a cab one day, and as someone who had a mom who survived cancer, you hopped in a car and there was a taxi driver, and in your conversation you found out that he also was suffering with cancer. Talk to us about that situation and what God allowed you to be able to do for him.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Well, so I entered the Uber, and I met a man by the name of Kim Broski. And he happened to be, you know, dying. He had terminal cancer. And it was head, tongue, and throat cancer. And I just remember me thinking, oh, no, you have cancer. It was nostalgic because my mom had cancer and watching her go through chemo and things of that nature. And then he also began to tell me how he has a daughter, he's about to go, and he has a daughter with 2 grandchildren, and he doesn't want them to be homeless after he passes. And another nostalgic moment, I was homeless with my family, you know, so I'm like, okay, I felt hopeless before and helpless before, and I don't want to let anyone else go through that situation ever again. So I asked him, what do you need? How much do you need? He told me $95,000. I said, $95,000.
That's bigger than what you could do.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, but I told him, let's figure it out. I may not know, but I'll figure it out for you. $95,000. And next thing you know, I was able to come back 4 days later with over $102,000.
4 days later, right? And was it kind of like a GoFundMe kind of thing or whatever?
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you know that that's God, because how many GoFundMes and donation things are out there, and in 4 days, you were able to answer this man's prayer, a stranger that you didn't even know. You were able to bless his life. That's the impact that I'm talking about. That's the impact that we get to have each and every day if we would take the time to listen, to watch our surroundings and see people around us. You know, traveling in New York City trains, it's so common not to look at people, and it's so common to be in your own space. But I've learned to see that look in someone's eye where you know it's either a mom who's really tired and exhausted, or a kid who's had it up to here, and to know what it is to pray for them. They may never know that someone was praying for them, but if we could just see it, we can make that difference, or put our hands on their shoulder and say, you know, God loves you. Roland, take a moment, look into the camera, speak to the 13-year-old you or the 15-year-old you, and give them that word of encouragement that they need to not fall into the trap that life has for them.
I would say keep strong faith in that Bible. I know one scripture that I look at a lot is Mark 9:23. You know, all things are possible to a person who believes. You know, and that's one thing you have to have. You have to just continuously believe in yourself and know that you can do it, and just continuously follow your curiosity and never stop, and just keep going, and just know that through Christ everything will come into place.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And Shawn, I'd love to have you back on the show again and have a little bit more time to talk about even your business. He's got these great suits that he creates and everything like that, but you can also find him on his website. I have his information available for you here on the show. And for those of you who would like to hear our full radio broadcast, email me at JWay Productions, and I will send you the radio broadcast, and you will get to listen to his story in depth. And all you have to do is put in the subject line is more than a miracle, because with God we are more than miracles. Thank you so much for joining me and being on the show.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Until next time, I want you to be your very own best hero, because the greatest hero of all said that you were worth it when he gave his life for you on the cross.
It's not over until God says so. Don't you give up now. Don't you give up now. Darker days are just for your thought. Don't you give up now. Don't you give up now.
Don't Give Up Show with Jacquie Wayans.
Jackie's so sweet. And I met your daughter too, right?
Did you? Oh, yes, you did.
Right?
You told me
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell you a little bit about that. My kids are funny. My daughter, I have 2 daughters, and they both think you're extremely handsome. So she's like, I ran into that really handsome guy today that was on your radio show. I was like, Shawn? You're like, yeah. Okay. So, we good?
She was sweet.
That's Amber you met. She's an artist. I'm going to show you her work before. She's doing some great stuff.
Okay.
Some great stuff.
And am I supposed to look anyway? Just
So
talking
this
to
is
you?
your camera.
Am I talking here or am I talking to you?
You're talking to me, but
Okay.
anytime you are making an impacting point, I don't mind at all for you to look right into the camera. And it will not be unnatural. He's going to pick it up and he'll cut right to it.
Okay.
All right? So definitely if you want to. And definitely in the 3rd segment, I'm going to ask you something like, you know, if you could say anything to inspire someone to be a mentor, what would it be? And that's a great moment to just look right into the camera and give them that 1-minute tip.
We're ready.
Okay.
I'm Shawn Blanchard. I'm here on the show with Don't Give Up and Win. I want you to make sure that you tune in at 9:30 p.m. Is it? I need to catch up with you. Tuesdays at 9:30 or 9:30 p.m. Hey guys, I'm Shawn Blanchard. I'm here on the set of Don't Give Up and Win. You guys have to tune in on Tuesday. I'm going to say this again. Let me say this to myself real quick. Hello, I'm Shawn Blanchard. I'm here on the set of You. Okay. Hello. Okay. I got it. Hello, I'm Shawn Blanchard. How about that for a clap, baby? Keys to mentor to the success. I'm here on the set of Don't Give Up and Win. Make sure you tune in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roland and we're on a set of Don't Give Up and Win. You're going to love it. I messed up. It was too much of a pause. Okay. It's so funny. It's strange when you got to say certain things instead of it being like fluid. This is funny. So are you like super used to this? It's just like,
It's not super used to. It's the thing that feels most comfortable to me. Like I am more comfortable looking into a camera having a conversation than I am with people. But,
really?
Right, but because they're here and people are here, I'm comfortable.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And I am not as good, I don't think, in real life. I just feel very comfortable here. I know you might disagree, but I... Well, it's the Michael Jackson thing. You know, you just feel better on stage and in the camera than necessarily in real life. So, you can, don't worry about, you can come around the cameras. Hi, I'm Jacquie Wayans of Don't Give Up and Win, where we pursue our dreams and push away life's challenges.
It's not over.